Awesome. All right, so we're talking with Rory Sutherland, currently with United Healthcare, but next year he's going to make the move and ride at Saxo Bank. So we got him on the line here, and we just wanted to talk to him a little bit. Rory, how does it affect your family to pick up and move to Europe?
That's one of the big decisions that we sat down and talked about as a family. That is for me and my wife the most important thing to us beyond the career of that our family can thrive, that our children can do the same no matter where they are. And as soon as it's not a good idea for them, then obviously we take a different path. So yeah, it's a big decision, but at the same time with United Healthcare the last 2 years, we've been spending springs in Girona and in Spain anyway, and travelling around the world. So to be blatantly honest, I don't think it's that dramatic a decision to make. It's probably actually more half and half now, which might actually be better off for us as a family, and for our son to be in school for a longer period of time in both countries.
Oh, that's cool. So they traveled with you a little bit.
Yeah, the main aim of what we do as a family and me as a rider is that if we try to limit the time away from each other as much as possible. Obviously family can't come to races and be there with you in hotels like some people think, and so there is obviously a lot of time apart, but at the same time, at least we try to be on the same continent, unless we're just doing a race in Asia or something for a week, or in South America or something. But for the most part, if we're gonna be racing, if I'm gonna be racing in Europe, then we're all gonna be in Europe, and we're just gonna cut down that time away from each other as much as possible.
Yeah. Well, you've been riding with United Healthcare now for a while, and you've been you have been their main man, let's put it out there. And how does that affect the team now that you're leaving?
That's their problem. No, I don't know. I don't know. It's been 6 years, and it's been I think a very good relationship, and it's been a mutually beneficial relationship as well, where they've got a lot of great results out of me and the team, and the leadership that I could bring to the team, and I've got a lot out of them in terms of support, of decision making, in being part of the family of the team, and helping, I think, build a lot of that. And now the way the team is going and the direction they're going, it's time for me to make a decision and choose something more specifically for my family and for me. I'm going to miss a lot of the organisation. I'm going to miss a lot of the riders. I've had a fantastic time there. But maybe they're going to go a different path. I don't know. That's kind of, unfortunately, the way cycling works, and I'm sure they'll pick up the slack in a different area, or I'm sure they'll still have the successes along the way.
Sure. Well, that's the rumor on the street, but. My question with you is, when did the conversations with Mr. Rees and Saxo Bank commence? Was it because of your big ride up Flagstaff Mountain, or just the history of what you've done throughout your career at United Healthcare?
We had talked before, and the interest was there before, Utah and Colorado. In the European scene, things seem to be happening a lot later for signings than they have maybe in previous years, whether it's to do with the point system, or whether it's to do with who's available and what teams are starting or stopping, and what teams' goals are. And obviously on bigger teams, they need to solidify the marquee riders, which is what we used to do with United Healthcare. I'd pretty much be one of the first ones to sign, and then they kind of build it from there onwards. But I spoke to my manager in Europe, was speaking to them and some other teams throughout the year, and just seeing what the interest was, and kind of waiting for that more solid, a solid offer. From talking to a team manager to actually getting an offer is sometimes quite a long, a long break in between. And I'm kind of in that grey area of, I'm not a 21-year-old being paid minimum wage.
Sure.
I'm not a 30-year-old with Grand Tour experience and can win or have won a certain amount of races and command, a $500,000 plus pay packet. So, it's kind of that in-between area of, do we pick up this guy, do we not? He's not cheap, but he's also, not that expensive either. So
right.
I spoke right after I think Bjarne was trying to get he was in the Vuelta when I spoke to him, so right up to Colorado, and like you said, he'd been interested before, but it was kind of maybe the final thing to actually get the decision to be made and go in that direction for me.
Cool. That's good information. Let me ask you a question. You've been to Europe before. You rode with Rabobank. Why is this experience going to be different to you?
I'm not 21 years old.
A good answer.
That's a pretty good step. I've got a family. I'm in a completely different place in my life. I think I'm a completely different rider. I'm not this inexperienced kind of rookie, eyes open and ears open, kind of being amazed by the world so much and amazed by other riders. I think I've established myself in the US quite well. I've lucky enough on the team that I'm on and have been on. I've been able to win, quite a few races and have a leadership role, which is something I think I might not ever have gotten in Europe. So, I think it's a big experience part for me is that I have that experience of leading races, of making decisions in races, of handling some stress and kind of learning to train for specific races, which, is completely different than what I was doing then. And one of the discussions I had with Bjarne was, I said to him, look, I want to be blatantly honest. I'm not, I don't expect to be the man. I don't expect to be, your leader of all your races or in specific races. I said, but I do expect an opportunity as much as I can get, if the opportunity arises, to race for myself and to race, to try and win races, which is the aim of the team anyway. But I'm not I said to him, I'm not a neo-pro. I'm not just going to be kicked in the butt all year long. It's not kind of the relationship that I'm looking for. And if that's what you want, then, then I'll obviously look elsewhere. But, we had a really good chat. He's a very intellectual guy.
It's good.
I think we actually hit it off pretty well, and I think we're probably going to have a pretty good relationship because we seem to share the same ideas and values about, teamwork and motivation and team building and, really getting everyone on the same page and getting the most out of everybody.
Well, you're one of the best riders, and the cream always rides to the top. But bringing up on that, topic, you're going to be riding with one of the best riders, or the greatest riders that the sport's ever seen, in Alberto Contador. What's that experience going to be like?
It'll be interesting. Who knows how much I'll race with the guy? That's the thing. I remember on Rabobank, the big guys, the guys that are targeting the tour and stuff like that. You hardly ever see them. You see them at training camp, and then you move on. So, what's it going to be like? I think for them as a team and for Bjarne and the directors to make decisions about what I'm good at, where I'm going to fit in, and if it's a role in some races as kind of part of his squad to aim for these big races like the Tour or some of the big classics, then I'm all in to do my job as a rider and try and get the team the result, which is pretty much exactly the same thing as I've done in the previous years anyway. But at the same time, he's a guy like everybody else. I try not to treat anybody differently.
Cool.
So he's going to get treated the same way as the neo-pros. Of course the respect's there, but at the same time, everyone's human. Everyone's kind of a real person.
Sure.
Even though they've won certain races.
Absolutely. My question to you is, and I'm sure a lot of this hasn't been decided yet, but what are your goals going over to Europe this year? I mean, should we look for you to be in the Tour? Is that on your bucket list there to get there and produce some result? I mean, where do you want to be?
I think it's on everyone's list. I kind of never thought about it before. Thinking, when I was thinking about what I'd like to do and talking to one of the directors, Brad McGee, about, he actually asked me, which was a really nice thing. I didn't expect that to kind of happen. He said, what do you want to do? What do you feel you can do and what do you want to do? And I was like, well, if there's a guy like Alberto Contador going to the Tour, I think he'd be stupid to not want to be part of an experience like that. It's not often, there's not many people in the world that can say that they've been on a, Tour de France winning team or a podium winning team. So, of course that'd be something that appeals to me, but we're a long way off that at the moment.
Sure.
Doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It just depends on how I handle specific races and handle my role, and like I said before, how we actually, fit in what I can do and where I'm going to be a benefit to the team, I guess. So, specifics are not, we haven't really gone over that. That's something in November.
Sure.
Definitely, I think, be a Grand Tour there. There'll definitely be some of the bigger stage races to get me ready for other races, which I think is what I'm probably lacking, or have lacked in the last few years, and just doing more of a specific US program.
Sure. Well, I hope that you get there and achieve all your goals. And in closing, I just kind of want to ask you, because I think my voice is still hoarse from screaming at my television on that Flagstaff Mountain Day. I was really pulling for you. I'm a big fan of yours. And could you tell me a little bit about it? I can remember at the bottom, Dombrowski attacked, and I thought, oh my God, he's going to get away. And then you guys pulled him back. And then can you tell me a little bit about how that whole thing played out again?
Well, it was Jens at the bottom.
That's right.
In our breakaway group. And it was a strange day. It's a strange and emotional and ending up being a beautiful day, but it was a beautiful day even before, we got to the finish line, and Timmy Duggan and I were actually talking about that the other night. We're at a charity event of his, and we were talking about it to people and saying, like, even if we didn't win, even if we came 10 minutes down or something, we had a ball before the finish even started. It was such an amazing experience to be a part of. But the guys attacked on the flight section on baseline before we hit the actual real start of the climb, and myself and Timmy and Chris Baldwin there are all very familiar with the climb. We've done it. Timmy grew up in Boulder. Chris has been here for I don't know how many years. I've been here for on and off for 6 years, and that's where I train. That's my kind of climb that I do all my efforts on. So if you told me before the race that we come to the bottom in a group, I'd have said you're dreaming. And then if you said that I'd attack with like 5K to go at the bottom, I'd also say you're dreaming, because I'm not a big attacker on climbs. I'm kind of a bigger guy. I'm a bit more of a follower. And I talked to Timmy about it. I don't know what was going through my mind, but I was like, yep, it's time to go. We've got to get out of here, and I have to make sure that we stay ahead. And I know this climb so well that I kind of know where to go harder and where to go easier and get a little bit of recovery if possible. And I know that with that amount of people on the climb, you really need to race it from the front, because otherwise the crowd actually dictates what's happening, because if you're third or fourth wheel, you actually can't get round to attack. So you're kind of stuck where you are. So it was ended up being a pretty good move, I think.
Yeah, it was an instant classic. We'll call it that.
Yeah. It was a nice one to win.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, Rory, we really appreciate you joining us. If you have anything to add, please add it. You're a gentleman. We wish you all the best. Next year, and with your new team and your new duds, and we'll be rooting for you. And we appreciate you joining us on Cycling Illustrated.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Take care.